Hello, everyone. So happy to be here, especially with my special guest, Beverly Glazer, who has been here on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time together for over a year, I believe. I kept saying 9 or 10 months, but that was like 6 months ago. Time does fly when you're having fun.
Sure
So
does.
today's episode is based on collaboration, of which we're trying to be a perfect example of, and are always open to chat. Love to hear comments, any insights. Love to be able to direct our conversation to bring as much value as possible. And with that, I'll swing it over to Beverly and we could start collaborating.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Well, for anyone that has been listening for like more than a year, because Dawn, you've been on for I don't know how, like you were gung ho 7 days a week,
I know.
collaborating with everybody until we came to some kind of a formula, which is a very loosey goosey still kind of formula. But what happens now on the Tuesday shows is we have guests Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with kind of a keyword that we talk about. And on Tuesday, it's a particular slant to women. And then we have Carl Dakin, and we have you name it, Dawn, and everyone who's been listening and contributing. That's wonderful because we're all collaborating. And we need you because it just sends us and pivots us into a different direction. And we all learn from each other. And this is what collaboration is. It's all about learning, it's all about communicating, it's all about, meeting each other and giving value so that we can all go higher. And this is a friendly chat. It's just an information gathering, and you get what you need, and and you let us know. So we're collaborating. When you are collaborating, you're also learning. I learn from the audience. I learn from Dawn as much as I'm hoping that you learn from me. And it's the same thing when I am podcasting or whether I'm working with my clients as a coach and even as a therapist. And I say even because therapy is completely different than coaching, and coaching is more like collaboration. If anyone has questions on that, please dump that out, because a lot of people think it's the same thing. It sure is not. And so, by the way, if you don't know who I am, I will tell you. I'm Beverly Glazer, and I empower high achieving women to reach their potential, grow further, grow faster, and be who they want to be. And so, of course, when I'm talking to women, that is who I am really addressing. However, every problem, everything that goes on with women goes on with men too. And so this is just a different niche. It's because women have different issues than men do, as all women know, and as all maybe men do not know. But collaboration for us has a different history as well, because women have not been collaborating with each other. Women, depending on the culture, have kind of different slants about competition with each other. And so this is something that I'd also like to address, because it doesn't help us today. It really doesn't. But we do have. It's called. I'm gonna share this after. But there's save it, because there's different stuff that's been going on with the way we've been brought up among other girls. And today we have to break those stereotypes. And particularly as older women, there's so much going on that has to change, because it's not as if, you're only a grandmother. And I shouldn't say only, okay, because that is a wonderful opportunity. But if you want to do more, and if you want to have more relevance, we're talking about that. And it's so important to collaborate with other women who are on the same track, because you may think that you're the only one. And when we think we're alone, it's like, what's wrong with me? But we start seeing others, and that's where collaboration comes all in, all in. So, Dawn, I can see people out there. This is wonderful. And of course, Shari and Carrie, not Shari, Carrie. And I also see my good friend and collaborator, I might add, Wendy Green. Hi, Wendy. And it's terrific. Let's talk about collaboration. Let's get into it. And let's just continue to talk. Dawn, because get on in, because I don't want to do another TED Talk, right?
No, but if you did, I'd be very astutely listening, because I have been able to appreciate how much Beverly can bring to collaboration. And the key to collaboration is the first two words, which two letters, which is co, right? You get to do so much more with someone. If this was just my show alone, it wouldn't go an hour. It wouldn't be as dynamic, exciting, and I wouldn't be as rested at the end of it. But it's nice to be able to swing it back and forth, learn and lean into what someone has just said, kind of open the road for you so you don't have to plan too much. You just have to listen a little bit more, and you have to be respectful for each other. And I think it goes beyond conversation, which also starts with a CO, because you can have a conversation without having a collaboration. A collaboration tends to lend itself to continuous opportunities, sharing, partnering. It's the best of the best when you bring in the most values that you can. And I think that's important. And, because we have such a nice audience starting out so early, let me recognize Wendy Green. I actually did look Wendy up, and she's the host of Boomer Banter Live and Podcast. And I think, you know, with collaboration, another CO, we have community, which is,
Yeah,
starts with a CO, and
yeah.
everybody's part of a community, and then people are part of niche communities. And, it looks like Wendy has the alignment with podcasting, with live streaming, and it becomes more of a family over time. And I know me and Beverly are part of our cohort group that meets every other Thursday of just live streamers. And the knowledge share is incredible, but just as important is the support,
Mhm.
is knowing there's people like you doing what you're doing and can help you help them help each other. And that makes all the sense in the world. Our jokester today is Carrie. Basketball is such a messy sport. Amid the trick shots, the court is needed to be clean from all the dribbling. Makes sense. I see that Wendy and Carrie know each other, and I see naturally that Beverly and Wendy know each other. So that's another really cool aspect of this program is you have people who view, but there's people who participate. And
Mhm.
there's a difference between just standing on the sidelines, which is nothing wrong with it. But at a certain point, you want to get in the game. You want to ask questions. You want to learn more about what you want to know. And you want to get to meet people. And I think because of LinkedIn, it is all about connections and all about building relationships. And this is a wonderful way because you can see people, you can hear people, you can interact with people, and it's real time, unlike a lot of AI stuff and bots, and you don't know who you're talking to or what you're talking about half the time. So it is really people getting together with people. And, I look back and wonder, how did I do 500 shows in a row? And it's kind of like Forrest Gump just started running one day, and pretty soon he had an army behind him without any intention or knowledge. And maybe that's the best way sometimes, is put one foot forward and follow it and let it take you where you're supposed to go. I think there's way too much planning, less doing, when it's all about activity and learning from doing. So I think we're off to a great start. Oh yeah, Wendy says Cohen also starts with CO. So maybe we should have a program just based on CO. And Wendy, if you're in the mood, always love to talk to you about possibly come on the show with Beverly. And Wendy says Oh, I would like to know about the live stream group you talked about. Well, that would be part of our conversation, but it's actually with all the shows I've done, about 900 now,
Yeah.
I was able to get to meet a good quality group of people, and from that group, we formed about 7 of us that meets every other Thursday by Zoom, share, learn, and support each other. And I think that's essential because it's a lonely road. And one thing I'll say about all my episodes, I never did one by myself. So, because I couldn't and I didn't want to. Um, so, by bringing people into it, over 65 people now, last count, have got their own shows. And actually, Carl started the Belize show Tuesdays right before this show, and also has the Thursday show, which is a community redevelopment show. Harvey's got the franchise show, the franchise brand show. So after a while, you become like a network, not just a show. You start producing shows and you become a bigger and bigger player in what we're doing. And it's then, the beauty of it is amplified reach. You don't know where this is going to go during, but more importantly, after the show's over. And I've got almost 50,000 views of my videos and have done nothing to do anything to promote them. It just starts to get organic. So you're building huge content, so much value. Uh, I can only promote so much, and then I've got to turn it over to Beverly. Beverly, what's your new thoughts?
I was just listening. I think that's wonderful. Okay. And this is what happens when we collaborate. Um, you get you get to grow. Um, the more people who know people, it just keeps on going and growing. And so it's about, I hate the word networking. I used to hate that word with a passion because, I don't come from corporate. So networking to me means, or it used to mean actually, probably to everybody, that you attend these events and everybody's giving out their business cards and everybody's, like for me, heck, okay. It's like, no, I like to know, like, and trust, like I think most people do. And what we're doing now is networking in a totally different way by collaborating. And I know Wendy because she's really in the aging space. What my podcast is Aging with Purpose and Passion, and she is Boomer Banter. And there is a collaboration group for basically for other podcasters, which happen to be women, happen to be in that space. And that's what collaboration is all about. It's the same here. When you have this idea, Dawn, to go live streaming, what are we doing really, right? If we didn't have people listening, then what would this be about? And if we weren't contributing, it wouldn't last long. And that's the truth. And, I you have no idea, or I am always blown away by who you touch and that you don't even know. And that is only because you're putting yourself out there. And so when you're doing podcasting or live streaming, it's exactly the same thing. I know you, Dawn. I know Wendy. I kind of know you, even Carrie, because you called me, and we all kind of know each other, but there's so many more people that are listening that we don't know that we can affect. And sometimes they do reach out. And, when they do, I am blown away. Okay. Because you don't even know when you're talking here who you're talking to or what effect you can have. And that's collaborating. Otherwise, like you were saying, Dawn, you can go on here talking to yourself, like, what is the point? But when you know that there are people listening and when you know that you're making a difference, that's what it's about. Now, what prevents a lot of people from not collaborating is fear. And it's the fear that you're going to be judged. It's the fear that other people are going to know more than you. And so the whole idea of anything that we do when we collaborate is that it's a safe space, that it works for us, that we are getting and that we are giving, because it should be something that you're not fearful or you're not feeling of being judged. And so we always grow higher when we collaborate with others, but we also have to overcome, and women have more of a difficulty overcoming that than men do. Men are like dead on, right in. I know you. Here's my card. This is what I do. and women have like a different spin on it. So what you have to do is be comfortable. And often in a group, you are invited. And so when you're invited, there's already a comfort level there. Are you interested in coming? And then you're introduced. And women like that. Think of that, the coffee klitches that go way back. And, very often there are groups for um, uh, reading and, what's our latest book or childcare stuff, whatever it is. If you're invited, if you know others, you're learning from others and others are learning from you. And so it's to overcome that I'm not good enough and that I have no value, or they know more than me. This is what I know. But where I come from is I hope they know more than me because I know what I know, but I'm not learning if I know everything, right? So you have to go in and say, I'm open. And that's collaboration in anything. That's collaboration in teams, in business. That's collaboration on podcasts and or live stream, where it's all about working with people. It's people talking to people, people helping people, idea sharing. This is absolutely awesome if you just open yourself up to it and you don't know who you affect. So it's a win-win-win all around. And that's why I love collaborating. And I belong to many different collaboration groups, and masterminds are awesome just for that, because you're collaborating and you're listening and you're learning. So Dawn, share, and let's collaborate.
Well, you know me, I can't wait to share, and I can't wait to learn from others people sharing. And I think that's so vital because, even in the audience now, we've got Omar, who has been
Yeah,
just
right.
extraordinary with his creativity. He had me on his 40th birthday show and named me as one of the 10 inspiring people in his lives, and which was very, very honoring. And also with his kindergarten teacher who followed me. Uh, so there was a potpourri of different individuals, but the spirit of inclusion, the spirit of recognition and appreciation that can be shared, not just knowledge. And to Beverly's point, people forget who you are when they know how you think, because it's really more important what's inside of you. And most people will make a superficial judgment of, hey, that's a lady, that's a guy, that's a this, that's a that. And that's usually where you have to start from and work away from at times. But when people truly hear your wisdom, your thoughtfulness, and it's not just the oh, being better, and I think Wendy makes that point, but it's also being a good person, and that's a rarity. So, and to Wendy's point, I'll share that. Or the fear that they're better than you, they compete against
Yeah.
you, you might lose. There's so much more to gain by joining than by fighting,
Yeah.
by listening and understanding before judgment. And I think that's important. And Wendy follows it up with know, I like, and trust the people you collaborate. And, trust is fundamental. Without trust, communication has no value. Because if you can't believe the person or what they're saying, it's just empty words. But if someone's there for you and over time demonstrates that, everybody can talk a good game, but not everybody can play a good game over time. And that's important because there's going to be times when you need help. And a lot of times everybody has 80, 90% of the puzzle, but is missing that 10 or 20% that if someone can bring to the table, makes them complete. We just were talking about Harvey, and Harvey's here. Just shows you, just like a genie rubbing a magic lamp. Harvey appears. Harvey is just, I can't be more proud of anybody I've worked with and how far he's come in such a short period of time. Has really taken the franchise world by storm and then added the franchise brand. Harvey's also part of our collaboration group that meets on Thursdays. Always glad to have you, Harvey, even if only in spirit. And then Harvey's show follows this, just for everybody's information. Even if you're not 100% into franchising, it's great conversation, great information that can be shared and applied. And we've got, I believe, Jason Gerardo. Good morning to Beverly, Don, and the community. And Jason will be on Thursday with Kelly and Dave Snell. Two more people in our collaboration group. And I think that's what's so important is people just don't come here without being part of being here. And there's so much thought and action towards lots of people instead of relevant people. And you're much better with a few quality people who are with you and stay with you than the ones that kind of come and go, kick the tires. Not much happens from that. So it's been a great journey for the last 2 years. It hasn't seemed like that long, even though we've come across so many different people. I know me and Beverly must have had 25, 30 different guests already. And I can say that for all the other people I'm working with. And then just figure the combinations of people from that. I mean, just Wendy showing up has opened another door to a bigger community. Kathy, we talked about, just on and on. Wendy is prolific today, and that's wonderful. I can't applaud people who participate more. I'm wondering about how difficult it can be for siblings to collaborate in caring for an older parent. Well, definitely that's something that as you get older, you come into contact with more and more. And I think, you can only generalize so much, but there's common ground that people have to reach. And not everybody's going to be the same in what they can do or what they want to do, but finding a middle ground that's comfortable, because again, the key to what we're dealing with here and in other situations is sustainability. Being able to start something you can continue and finish with, as opposed to wear out. And I know we had Lance here so many times, who was so instrumental in caring for older people. And he's a great resource. And I think that's one thing me and Beverly and a lot of other people have gained over time, is the network that we have that can refer people to other people and join people with other people. So, and then we've got Harvey saying, "Hey, Carrie, hope you're doing well." I know Carrie was up for a job for Amazon delivery, didn't know how it worked out, but we're keeping in touch with everybody's progress. And it's nice to know that everybody's doing okay and is going to do better. So with that, Beverly covered a lot of ground with a lot of people.
Yeah, we always cover a lot of ground. And it's just wonderful, seeing Harvey come in and everybody, and Wendy, of course. And, it's wonderful because it is a community and it's collaborative. And I'm going back to what Wendy was talking about difficulty with siblings who have to care for an older adult, and the older adult may be very difficult as well. So the communication and the collaboration with the sibling can be even more difficult than helping the aging adult. This problem is not just with siblings, it's with everyone that you're collaborating with. If you happen to be in a team and you have to be put in a certain situation, so whether it's business or whether it's personal, it's harder when it's personal because there's all that baggage from the past. But we also have to know that some people have certain strengths and some people have certain weaknesses. And when you're aware of that, you have to accept the person from where they're at. Everybody has an opportunity to help. Everyone can help. They may not be close to the older person. They may have their problems, and maybe their issues with that person or their issues with their siblings. You have to put that aside. It's like, what's the purpose? And how can that other person contribute? Perhaps financially they can contribute. Perhaps they can't contribute at all. And perhaps it's best that they don't. But what you have to do is let that go. Let the anger go that you are doing it all alone or you are carrying the load. Because when you do that, you're going to resent the sibling. But mind you, you always did, right? It's just coming to a point now that it's really affecting you because the person was always the same person. It's like, okay, they can't or they won't, or for whatever reason, they're not. But so I have to let it go and I have to do what I want to do. So what you judge is really, what can they do? Is it financial? Can they come in for a specific time and give relief? Whatever that person can do. And in a team, it's the same thing. You're always going to find the leader. You're always going to find somebody that really is doing it on their own. It's really capable. And there's always going to have somebody that, yeah, they're going to do the least amount that they possibly can. Well, we know who those people are. And you can't be upset about them. You have to, like, either they pick it up, either you give them peer pressure, whatever you do, you can't lose sleep over that. Okay. You just have to do what you know you can do. And for whatever reason you want to do it, because it's all about you guys. That's it. Don't just let it go. It's not worth the aggravation. Okay. I hope it
Well,
helps. And thank you, Wendy.
yeah. So Wendy appreciated that. And I think that's part of collaboration is showing your appreciation or agreement or disagreement, but getting it out there, because you can't say two things at once. So you have to say something in return for something or in anticipation of something. And I agree wholeheartedly with Beverly, is that people can only do what they can do. And a lot of times it may not be fair as far as equal in quantity or even quality, but it's the best. And what I found is, why ruin another relationship trying to support another relationship? And now you've got an issue with your parents, and now you got an issue with your sister or brother, and you don't need more issues. So really the key is, if you can help, it's always appreciated. If you can't, I understand and don't want to push somebody into an uncomfortable position, because it's never going to turn out that good. And I think some people have to learn how to be the better person, how to be more patient, allow things to happen when they're supposed to happen. And also, you can only do what you can do. So there's a point, and we talk about this, where you want to avoid burnout. You want to avoid bad situations, because it starts to filter and project through your whole life. And pretty soon your immediate family gets the impact of it. And they start hearing about how I can't get along with my sister, how my sister doesn't do this. And pretty soon it squeezes the life out of what you had there. And I think, again, it's not easy, but, it doesn't have to be easy. It just has to be the best you can do. And I think that's important. And I think that's why having conversations like this are important, is people need the ability to express themselves. May not change anything, but they don't want to keep it inside, and they want feedback, because they want to know, how is everybody else feeling about it. And you're a lot braver in a crowd or in a community than you are by yourself. And I think that's what makes the world go round today, especially on social media, is being the one to put the subject out there, create the guest, create the show, and then let it find its own life. And that's
Yeah.
why I've never been a person to say, okay, here's the script, here's 8 questions you're going to get asked, because I might as well just write them down and send them to you, and you can talk for me, as opposed to getting to know who I am and me getting to know who you are. And that's where the trust figure factor comes in. So, Beverly,
Yeah. Well, as usual, you said so much that we can just pivot and divert into. Okay. Um, but that is what collaboration does. You meet new people, you get new ideas. But what you said originally was, I think, the key. It has to come from what you want to do. And I remember when I started my podcast, is I knew nothing about podcasting, absolutely positively like zero. And the same thing is I knew nothing about business, absolutely positively. But what happens is if you have a need, if you have a want, okay, you can find out. Now, for me, I was on air, and I think I mentioned it before, AM radio for 5 years. I was the online therapist. It wasn't online. It was, then it did go online as well. It was like radio right across. And when you're on radio, it's not like this. When you're on radio, you're talking to a microphone and you're talking to the thousands of people in the community and who knows where they are. And I see the newsroom ahead and I see the control room over there. And, and yes, occasionally I'd bring in guests, but what happens was I absolutely loved talking about specific things that I knew. And there were always, people coming in, call in, show, et cetera, et cetera. The trick was whenever I'd say to the producer, I cannot believe it. Here I am talking. And because you talk for like 15 minutes and commercial break and blah, 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 whatever, it's all scripted. That's what you were saying. It seems so loosey goosey, and it kind of is, but not. What happens here when you're doing this kind of thing is you do think you're talking to absolutely nobody. And I said, what's going on? They're not calling. So he said, all you have to do is give them a controversial question. They're going to start calling, but they're listening. Okay. So this is what we're talking about here. Okay. When you mention listening, okay, that's what it is. That's what podcasting is. What we're here when you're live streaming, you could be listening, but you're also taking notes and thinking, and where it comes out, you do not know. And so for me, when I started the podcasting, because after 5 years, Get a Life with Beverly Glazer needed a life, okay, because this was every single weekend for 5 years, whatever, okay, and you have to be on. And I had a day job as a therapist, and no. So the bottom line really is, I thought podcasting, that's very cool. I have a phone, I have a computer. How do you do this? Well, it's a lot harder or complicated, more complicated than just putting it in your phone as everybody else does. But they say, oh, it's nothing, just start it, right? No. Okay. So you do the research and you do it all. And with COVID, I had the time. And I think with COVID, a lot of things, everything changed and we had time to do so many more things. But it starts with what you want to do and not what you can't do. Oh, I can't do that. And what's it about? Okay. So I'm all about reinvention. I'm all about changing people's lives, helping people change their lives, blah, blah, blah. So what I was thinking of was the challenges that people, and I was focused on women here because that's where my coaching was developed, the challenges that women have overcoming as they're over 50. Because under 50, life goes pretty fairly smoothly or directed or not so smoothly, but whatever it is, there is a goal and a purpose and blah, blah, blah. After 50, it's like, uh-oh, I'm too old. Corporate may say I'm too old, or I'm starting to like certain things are like not working so well in the body and whatever. And then you have the problems with the elderly parents and all that stuff. So real heavy life starts kicking in. So if you're under 50, look forward to it, people, because you're going to get it too. and and so what I thought of stories, because as a coach and therapist, I hear stories, right? And the stories are unbelievable, okay? And all your problems can be considered, and always were when I was working, okay? Because it's like, come on, like there's some real stuff out there that you shouldn't even, okay, go there, okay? Although we shouldn't make those comparisons. But the bottom line was stories should be told. I felt that. And so The first is find people. And did I know anything about technology? No. So you practice a lot on yourself. Not going out there. This is between you and your phone, you and your computer, et cetera, et cetera. And you kind of work on it. And then you say, okay, now it's my time to take the risk and flub it up. Okay. So the point is, did I flub it up? Not so much, because I had the experience from radio. So I kind of had the idea of what I was going to be doing. But when you said the shows grow on their own and everything grows on their own, that's what it is. You know, that first show, I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to go there. But as you start growing, like over 100 shows, etc., it has grown, and the people and the stories. But it didn't matter whether it was the first show or even the story that's going to be going out, which is going to be great, amazing, actually, next week. Whatever it is our stories, our personal journeys matter. And every podcast that's out there, I don't know if people are listening to podcasts, this is genre. But what it is, it's all about collaboration. And so, for instance, there's that negative connotation about boomers. It's even said, hey, boomer, like that's, we're the young ones. We know what's happening. Well, you know, actually not. Wendy faced it right at it, boomer banter. Hey, boomer. Yeah, that's us. So there's that about boomers. There's many podcasting, areas for just about anybody. If you want to learn anything, yes, you go to YouTube, find a podcast, find people that you can relate with. And that's what collaboration is. And it goes out there to the universe, and we don't know who we are affecting. I remember walking out of the radio station, and I don't know, a week or two later, people say, oh, I heard you last Saturday, like, blah, 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 whatever it was. And I was like, you heard me? you know, you really don't know who is affected and what you're going to say to anybody that they can relate to. And so live streaming, what we're doing right now. So podcasting, what Wendy and I do, what everyone in the group do. There are people over 80 in that collaboration group when you think about it. They're podcasting. And those are really good shows. There's nobody today that can say, I can't do it. It's how committed you are to want to collaborate, to want to get to understand how you could do what you want to do. And that way, the world is open to you today. There's so many resources. So don't fear collaboration. You can reach out. You could reach out to Dawn. You could reach out to myself. You could reach out to anyone on LinkedIn. Harvey's there to help everybody. He was helping Carrie. I mean, it's about franchising. What I said, I'm not into franchising, but when I did hear his show, how great is that? And that's a niche. And same with mine. Women Over 50 is a niche. And Dawn's show is about live streaming and collaboration. And so whatever you need is out there. And it's all about you. So all you have to do is reach out and say, what do I want? Okay, then go find it. The world is your oyster. And that's what collaboration is all about. However, I'm going to say, be cautious. Okay, be cautious, because marketing is quite sophisticated. And when I say everybody's out there, everybody is out there. So to know, like, and trust, that's the primary go to. And in your gut if you can relate with that person. If you don't feel it, all those flashy bells and whistles, beware. Okay, because everybody is out there. Okay, you have the opportunity, but you really have to be selective. And so collaborate, check everybody out. It's everything is available. And for me, I always welcome a conversation. And I believe most people should welcome a conversation. And I have to say, no time, we always find time if it's important. Okay, we always find time if it's important. So, we do have to prioritize, and that's with everything. Prioritize yourself, find what you need, go out for it. And I commend you, Carrie, for just the interview at Amazon. Good. And if you get the job, even better, but keep going. Okay? Yeah, you never know.
Well, I think that's so vital is keep going, because when you start, you're not in a position to know where you're going. You just know you're
Mhm.
moving forward in a
Exactly.
direction. I think also what Beverly said that's so important is times and things have changed. In the past, you had to fit in to be part of it. So, in other words, if you weren't as mobile as you used to be, if you're not
Mhm.
as full time as you used to be, you can create your own world on your own and invite people to it instead of hoping to be invited to something you're probably not going to be invited or not as relevant. A key statistic I always tend to share is 82% of people on LinkedIn are between 18 and 34. Well, I would say about 95% of everybody I have shows with or work with are over 50. And what does that mean? People gravitate to people that they're aligned with. The other big element that I found to be so true is authenticity. People want to see you as you and
Yeah.
how you are, not what you would like, what you think people want to see. And after a while, you get comfortable with it. The reason my first show wasn't as good as my following shows, I didn't understand all these principles. I was so focused on technology and what's going on out there that I took time and thought away from myself to share what's going on inside of me, to
Mhm.
allow people to share what's inside of them. Uh, I see that Wendy's sharing with Carrie. There are people work with vets and coach, and then skills you need. Have you looked into that? And it's a journey, and usually you're already where you want to be. You just don't understand that. Is everybody comes from somewhere, and everybody's going somewhere. And
Mhm.
is it somewhere you want to be? What I would always say is start at the beginning, and you can't make up for lost time. What's done is done. You can always maybe launch a new future path. And I think that's important. And I think shows like this and collaboration, and I think the key is being proactive, being the
Mhm.
one to reach out, not waiting. Whatever happens through waiting will happen anyways. What happens through creating can make a difference. And doing is everything. Too many people plan, too many people think, too many people say one day. Today's the day. Today's the
Yeah.
only day you have. Make something happen today. And it could be just read a good book, take a good walk,
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
something. But you can't get into that loop of I'm not good enough, nobody likes me, nobody wants me. Well, you're already coming in with that baggage, and no one really wants to see or hear it, to be honest. People want to know, what can you do for me? And the key element is the saying, what's in it for them, because in the beginning all they know is them and not you. In time, through collaboration and conversation, people start to pick up on certain things, and they'll
Mhm.
give you some space. And if it's more positive and more valuable, they'll appreciate and honor you more. And that's when doors start to open up. It's not what you need, it's what you deserve that you usually get. And what makes you happy makes people like you happy. So how do you like to present yourself? And I think people look at how you treat others thinking, well, they're so courteous and polite, that's probably how they'll be with me. And that makes things safer. And through safety, and we talk about that, you can build trust. A lot of people aren't going to share if they're afraid that, hey, someone's going to throw tomatoes at me, or hey, I'm going to get embarrassed here, versus, what did you do to make you happy today? The nice thing about these formats of an hour, there's so much time. No one has to squeeze something in. And then the other element is not being self promotional. It's not, no one's here to sell. People are here to share. And through sharing, things can happen. So, I think there's really understanding that's important. And that's where having a cohort group, having a mentor, having someone who can kind of cut the time frame down, accelerate the progress, and really turn things around as a sounding board and say, well, have you noticed this? Or are you aware of this? Or I used to do. And I think that's the key. And it takes time, but we all have time, hopefully. It's what do you do with it that's so important. And how much happiness do you derive? Because people are getting, they get too professional, too career oriented, too monetizing, versus, hey, just get right, get real, get happy. And the happier you get, the more successful you'll be. It's usually counterintuitive to most people is that when I get the stuff, then I'll be happy. No, get happy and then add the stuff to it, and you'll be even more happy. And that's only through conversation like this, because all it has to do is jog one or two things in your mind, a conversation of an hour. You're not going to take away the whole hour. Maybe you can, but in most cases, hey, that's a good tip I wasn't aware of, or I was thinking about that, and that confirms it for me. Or, hey, this is an opening. I can walk through that door and learn more and grow more, because, that whole philosophy of the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's who you'll end up being. So who are you spending time with? Where are they going? Is that where you want to go? Or is it time to let somebody off at the station and pick somebody new? It's just,
I like
that's just the way it needs to be. So Beverly, I caught you in the middle of a great laugh, which made the whole program.
that was very cute. Okay. Um, yeah, what I'm thinking of, aside from leaving people off at the station, um, was how many people you meet when you're collaborating, and you never ever know. And I don't know, it's just great because um, you meet so many people that you would never know otherwise without collaborating. And so you just keep on growing. And the more you grow and the more you know, the higher you go. Oh, I didn't mean to be rhyming like that. Dr. Seuss here. but but it is really so true. And as you were talking, I was thinking of the wonderful people that I met just by being here, talking to you on a Tuesday, and and the list goes on and on, back, like you said, for over a year, right? And everyone's doing different things, and everybody is talking about, like, in my case, maybe women or issues that we have, and you being the man here can put your slant in. It's all really about talking and getting not only to know each other, but to give information, because all of us are experts in what we know, right? And so what we're doing is just going out there, and what you're doing is, does it work for you? Does it not? And making that judgment call and doing what's right for you. And so before you know it, once you're collaborating, and it doesn't matter whether it's on the air in a live stream, or if you're listening to a podcast, or whatever it is, it's like, does this person work for me? And if it doesn't, I'm moving on. And we all do that, whether it's, watching a program on Netflix or whatever it is, it's all about us. So we have to dig deep, and you have to say to yourself, what do I want? So, as we talked about last time, Carrie is looking for a job. He's been really struggling for quite some time. And one of the suggestions I said is start giving, and you never know when you will receive, but don't try to receive before you give. The more people know, the more people know who you are, the more they will know, like, and trust you. And if they do, that's when they can reach out. But it's all about giving. And so, what you're doing here, Dawn, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is giving of your time and giving of your energy and allowing people to receive whatever you're giving. And it's the same thing. Then you end up knowing the guests, people end up knowing you, and who knows where that goes. Because of course there have been some amazing people here, people that I've met, people that you've met on shows that I haven't been. It's been consistent and it's been great. So it's all due to collaboration. And this is just one way, but anybody can start collaborating with anybody else out there online. So you can do it on a Zoom. You could do it anywhere. Hey, I'd like to meet you. How many times on LinkedIn do I get, invites to, like, let's meet? And I know, of course, when I'm podcasting, it's like, I want to meet the guest. I don't want to just read their bio and them sending me the questions that they want me to ask them. Excuse me? No. Okay. We can have AI do that. Okay. I want a conversation. And it's the conversation that's relevant that makes the show relevant and the listener interested. And so what you have to do is, what do you want? What are you looking for? And then you go find it, because it's all there. And so, no judgments here. What do you want? And then be selective, and always be selective, because all those shiny objects are out there. And now, by the way, as you know, I don't know about your inbox, but mine is really filled with all kinds of shiny objects that I can buy left, right, and center if I don't hold on to my wallet really tight. Okay. And so collaboration is also what it's about. Read reviews, talk to people. Everything is collaborative. And then the more you know, the more you grow. So find a group, find people, and don't judge yourself that you're not good enough. And that's great, Carrie. You're keeping on going at it, not looking negatively. You will find something if you keep that positive attitude. And I know that. I sound like such a guru out there. Be positive. No, just keep going. And it'll happen. It
Yeah,
will.
I agree with Beverly. And I think what it also says is people are more accessible than you give them credit for. And there's times when people may put you on a pedestal and think you're, too of this, too much of that. But, if people are honestly walking the walk, not just talking the talk, they have minutes for you, right? Because they're looking to build. The other thing is, you never know how important your reputation becomes. I had two calls yesterday, one with a lady, one with a gentleman, and they both kind of shared what they thought my image was, or how much I do for this or how much I do for that. And I wasn't even aware of it, but it was honest, it was sincere, it was something that was given, with generosity. And you start to appreciate things that you don't always know for sure. But when someone tells you that, and I remember on our last cohort meeting, the Zoom meeting, Kelly was saying how she's been elevated to almost celebrity status, and she never considered herself that because, wow, you're a live streamer and you're doing so many wonderful things for causes, and you. But she's a reflection of her activities. She's no different than when I met her 21 months ago, and we've done a show every Thursday now for 21 months. And she's drinking out of a fire hose with opportunities. They're coming right and left and center. And it was nothing she could have planned. It's visibility and it's amplified exposure. And I think we're in rarefied air, even though we don't personally always feel rarefied. But it's cool, it's cool to be somebody again. And there's so many people who felt their last wave has just went by them, and now a new wave comes up, and now they can catch that and have a great run with it. And that's what I've been so appreciative of, is another opportunity to be relevant, to be vital, and to be someone making things happen, not just following what's happening. And I think the other key advice is go deep, not wide. Get to know people a lot better, and not just more people, a little bit better. And also allow people, and through collaboration, as the word today, to help you. No one's beyond help, and everybody is willing to help if it justifies itself in some sort of appreciation or recognition. But there's something to having fun, and I think that's an element most people take for granted or don't even take at all. Is I just got a job to do. I just got something to accomplish. Why not have a little laughter? Why not have a little joy? It's not going to hurt anything. I hope that's not my phone.
It's mine. I'm going to shut it.
One thing I
Well,
will say,
I'll just let it go. This is live streaming, right?
that's the beauty of it, is you're always wondering, when is the video going to go out? When is the sound going to go out? And maybe makes you more sensitive and aware. But when you can laugh about it, you've overcome it. In the first few episodes, it would have been, how could this, and you go kind of goofy. When people look at what happens to you when you're in a situation that is not something you anticipate, but you got to let things fly. The good thing about live is everybody knows it's live, and that was one of the benefits I saw in doing it, because if I had to plan every show, it would take too long. It would get too vanilla. It wouldn't have as much flavor, as much taste, because people are coming to be with you, not just what you have to offer. And hopefully you can get with them, and it builds. I mean, it seems kind of elementary. I would have never known when I first started with all of my experience and everything else how it was going to turn out. But maybe that's one of the benefits of not knowing, of being surprised, of waking up and saying, wow, I've got this and I've got that. Now the key is, what do you want to do with it? Once you've learned a skill set, and once you know how to apply it and impact people, I couldn't have been prouder for all the people who have come after me and with me. And now I'm following them. Now I'm learning from them. So you go from teacher to student and back to teacher again all the time. And that's why collaboration is all about different positions, different roles. How do I fit in? Different people are naturally, by definition, different, and you relate to them different, right? And other people are a little bit more out there and interesting. So it looks like we're at 58 minutes. Every time I look at the clock and I say, how could this have gone an hour? And it's because of the not only joy of the show, but the revelation that there's so much to be gained by having a show with the right people, and also working with those people to get their shows better, because as they get better, they come back with information as how we can all be better. So Beverly, I'll let you have final thoughts.
Okay, well, this has been great. It's been a great hour. I'm also thinking that it's the collaboration time of year. It's December. Don't do it all yourself. Okay. For women in particular, we have a tendency of carrying the load for just about everything. Okay. Let it go. Designate. Have fun too. Take care of yourself. You can always reach me on reinventimpossible.com. You could reach me here on LinkedIn, of course. Just send me a message and or sign up for my self-coaching tips, because there's lots of things that you can teach yourself to change your mindset, which is really cool. And yeah, just keep working with others, and you are good enough, absolutely good enough. Don't limit yourself. You can continue to be resilient. You can keep going and growing as long as you want. It's all really about you. So that's my final thought. Get help, collaborate on podcasts, and thanks, Wendy, for showing up. And that was Boomer Banter, and mine is Aging with Purpose and Passion. And there's many aging out there that have podcasts and live streams and collaborate with others. Just go there. And Don, I want to thank you. Thank you so very much. It was a great show as usual.
Well,
Thank you.
I want to thank you just as much, if not more. I do appreciate Wendy coming today. She was very great with her comments and being insightful. Carrie always is, on his journey, and we're always hoping for the best. Omar, Harvey, if you have a chance, watch his show. Come back tomorrow. It's Carl Dakin and myself on helping with business development and funding. And then Thursday is leadership development with Kelly, Dave, and Jason. I just can't thank everybody enough. So, and to Beverly's point, take care of yourself. I know the holiday seasons aren't always easy for everybody, and that's why shows like this are important. Is everybody has a family and a home they can come to and be part of and be respected for, and that has very strong value. So with that said,